Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the straight red card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the straight red card. Can you hear me? Can people hear me? Because I'm having to revert to the fucking mic on my laptop because my fucking mic kaput. I don't think it's broke. I think the culprit is the wires that go into the USB. It was saying the object that I had plugged in needed too much power and the computer couldn't handle it. Well, that's just bullshit. This computer is brand new. It's got plenty of power. It's this fucking cord that is fucking the problem. All right, well, I'll find a solution. However, thank you. I'm glad you can hear me fine. Maybe even better. I don't know. Maybe this fucking laptop mic's even better than my Samsung mic, but I somehow doubt it.
It's not. I mean, it's doable. It'll suffice for the show. But your other mic was far better.
It's like when you're stuck in the woods and you got no toilet paper and you got to take a shit. The leaves are going to have to do.
It's either your hand or some poison ivy, right? Am I right?
Right. No, you go with the safe maple leaves. You go with that. Safe. Don't rub anything too alive on your butt when you're out. The turd in the background.
Is it 3 points or 5 points for poison ivy? Can't remember.
But hey, if it's green, don't rub it on your butt, period. Just not a good idea. Use the shit that's older but dry.
It breaks apart in your hand and you end up fisting your ass in the end.
Well, then you got to go wash your hands, so go find a stream. You're camping, right? Go find a stream. Yeah. The turd in the background says, "Welcome to the straight red card. Oh, boy. Am I in some hot water? I will never resign and have my boss's nudes. So suck it. Fun fact, I'm the first U.S. soccer press officer to start World War III. Yeah, Michael Cameraman cannot be too proud of his. I mean, listen, what are they saying? They said today, well, it wasn't the Federation and it wasn't U.S. Soccer.
It was their community manager, their Twitter, whoever handles their Twitter.
U.S. men's national team Twitter?
Yes. Or
U.S. soccer Twitter?
U.S. men's national team is what they're saying.
Okay, well, that's pretty much run by Michael Cameraman.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
So, his whole thing about being snooty and storming off with Ream and
I got that video clip.
Zimmerman.
We're gonna watch that. We're gonna watch that here in a second.
Okay. As the turd in the background. I love how many people are referring to Cameraman, men's national team, as the turd in the background. The straight red card has made a huge impact on the U.S. men's national team fan community.
I'm not gonna lie. It is fucking everywhere, and it's possible it's 100 people who come here to watch us on a regular basis that are just active on Twitter and saying that. But I've seen where who's this guy? And somebody will be like, somebody I don't recognize the Twitter handle will be like, oh, it's the turd in the background, pinned by straight red card.
I'm sure Michael Cameraman hates us so much.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, remember when I was telling you about his conversation with Pete, and he referred to himself as the turd. So Michael Cameraman is well aware of this. In his conversation, he has referred to himself as the turd in the background.
I was kind of hoping when that first came out that he was just, having a bit of a laugh at it. It's a sense of humor type thing. But I think since then it's kind of steamrolled into its own beast, if you will.
I mean, listen, if you're Michael Cameraman and you've got Ream and, answering absurd questions along with Zimmerman, and you cut the whole conference, the whole media spiel presser off way early. I mean, what does that say about you? Why don't you answer the questions? I understand the questions were absurd. They were absurd.
Well, no, this was even before today's. So this was
I know this was yesterday.
So the questions weren't even absurd at that point yet.
Well, they got a little edgy. They did.
I don't know. I guess I didn't hear the end of it. I did watch the presser, so I guess I don't recall it as
much. No, the first guy you're about to play says you need to learn to respect. This is it.
Well,
MLS Cup. This is World Cup.
I will say though. And did you watch the 13-minute clip of them actually answering the questions?
Yes.
Michael went around the room and basically picked up every single American or Latin American press or journalist to ask questions. And there was even somebody in the middle of it that said, "Hey, what about us? We want to answer some questions too." He goes, "And we're working around the room. We're working around the room." And then that's when this happened at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's the end. Maybe they weren't planning to be there for any more than 13. And then the guy came up to him and said, "Hey, this isn't free speech. This isn't free speech. You didn't let me ask my question." I think one question by one Iranian was enough for Michael Cameron. He's like, done. This is over. So, but, God, some of those questions today, as well as yesterday, were very politically motivated. I don't know, very pro current administration, current people in power in Iran. But we'll get to Michael Cameron's fuck up. Hell, we've already started getting into it.
Berlin definitely wasn't the turd's biggest fan today. He's been going off, or at least earlier today for me. He was going off.
I would guess that he's not even Berhalter's favorite guy right now, because the last thing Berhalter needed was this fucking distraction. And even if some other mini turd put this out at U.S. men's national team, like on their Twitter, isn't it his job to know what's coming out, what the message is going to be, how it's framed, what context the message is going to be? Like, is this distraction that we really need going into the final game of the group?
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into this more. We just brought this up because the whole cameraman talk at the beginning. And since we talked about this, let's go ahead and just watch this quick clip of cameraman cutting it off and storming off.
Oh, by the way, before you do that, today I am drinking the 6th glass. It's a quad. It's an American company that makes it, called Boulevard.
It's a 4-wheeler?
It's a very good Belgian style quad. It's delicious. And for a good price, too. I can't complain. All right, so that's why I'm drinking out this little mini Belgian thing.
Oh, Derek, I thought you were a giant.
I was in my day. And when I was overweight. All right, I still am, probably.
Berlin's calling you out.
What fruity shit is he drinking now? Fruity? It's not fruity. It's a quad, dude. And if I might say so myself, it is 10%. So this is no beer for the light fainted hearted. All right.
I use 10% to brush my teeth. What are you talking about?
You mean you brush your teeth with whiskey?
Yeah. Dip.
It is alcohol.
Yeah.
It's a cleansing utility. That's the only reason I still have any teeth left, frankly. I drink so much. It just cleanses my palate.
Yeah. The plaque just erodes.
It does. It's crazy. All right, let's see what we got here.
I just want to point it out that media officer of U.S. national soccer team should respect international media. This is World Cup. This is not MLS Cup.
Oh!
Shut up, Michael.
Take that, Michael. Man, he's shoving his Iranian, right up your gullet. All right. And Michael doesn't respond, so.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Awkward.
He's sweating.
Can I leave?
Players left the room, but the debate between the US Director of Communications, Michael Kammerman, and an Iranian journalist continued, although that conversation wasn't picked up by the microphones.
I heard it. It was picked up. I heard it on another mic.
I think he said with a smile, "Suck a dick."
No, he said to him, "This is not free speech. I thought you guys were about free speech." I didn't.
Oh, you know what? Who said that? Who said that? I was wondering. It's Berlin, I think. Maybe it was Berlin. Fuck. Somebody said it. But go ahead and continue.
Basically,
I'll see if I can find it.
There were like 3 or 4 Iranians up front, and only one of them got to answer ask a question. And after the question, it was over. So one of the dudes was kind of upset about it, and he was also upset that he was the last one out. I mean, he went through the whole fucking room, and then he went, "Yeah, all right."
Anybody back there in the back want to talk? No.
Yeah. No, this guy was in the front, raising his hand
like, me, pick me.
Time. Yeah. So
Michael, over here.
Listen, are they making a little much of this? Sure they are. But you know what? If you are the U.S. men's national team, and as Greg has said many times, when they come to this World Cup, they're not just here to play. They're also going to speak their truth, whatever the fuck that means, about politics. Well, if you're going to get into it and you're going to embrace it, then when they come at you with, hey, what's this fucking thing you did with our flag? Your answer can't be, well, I'm just a stupid little coach of the team. I don't know anything about politics, although I do like to speak my truth. I just don't know what the context for any of this is. I'm a stupid coach suddenly.
I don't even know what accent that was, Derek.
I don't either, but all I'm saying is this is ridiculous.
Going into Southern or something like that?
If you're going to say you're going to go there and you're going to have like all these social things you're going to bring up, which are political. That's just a fucking fact. All right? They have a different type of politics in Iran because their politics are based on their religion. That is why they have the government they have. So if you're going to go criticize them, well, yeah, you better know something about it. Now, Greg's going to say, well, little old me didn't know nothing about that post. Little old me, I'm just a coach. I'm just a dumb coach, man. I don't know about this politics shit. Well, then why did you slid into the World Cup. You slid into it talking about how you guys were going to speak up and be political. And now you get a simple question like this and you can't even have a basic fucking answer except for, I'm sorry, the staff is sorry, the players are sorry, we're all sorry. Okay, that's bullshit. Why are you sorry? You didn't post it. Just say the guy who posted it should be sorry. We're not, because we didn't post it. We're here to play soccer. And yeah, I'm sorry I said we're going to come in talking about all this political shit when we really should be just fucking focused on playing soccer, because that's enough for us. Let's
not waste all of our good juice on this. We still have plenty to go later on. We have some of the questions pulled up. But I wanted to first off bring up Chris Gary's comment here. It says, the turd responded, said, free speech, we don't even have that in USSF. Just ask Derek Ritchie.
We don't do that here at USSF. Just ask Derek Ritchie, Southern Belle.
Belle, Derek Ritchie.
That's just how I...
Sound like a plantation cartman.
Stick my foot out. Yeah, I mean, really, this is just so hypocritical in so many ways, but it's so just... It's diamonds, baby. It's diamonds, because Greg's getting, like, he's getting fucking revealed, like, across many ways. We haven't even gotten to the Reyna thing yet, right?
No. There's definitely more news on that I don't think you've heard yet. But I wanted to bring this up and say, hey, look, U.S. Soccer made CNN News.
They did. They made NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, all the news channels, because I couldn't find this interview on YouTube. So what I did was went to all the major news stations and got clips of all the different parts of it. Like when Tyler was asked how he deals with playing for a nation.
Derek, I've got that one pulled up. We're gonna go over that.
I know. I'm just saying that's how I get it in bits, because you cannot. Why U.S. Soccer wouldn't want to put up something so embarrassing like that on their YouTube? I don't know.
Well, they haven't posted anything like that all World Cup. Why aren't any of the pressers up there? There may be like a presser, like the Zimmerman and Ream one was up there, yes. Dude, but there wasn't shit ever.
It's been 48 hours until they posted something today. 48 hours of silence. Yeah. Okay? Until they posted that behind the scenes, fucking behind the badge, behind the crest, whatever the fuck they want to call it.
They might as well just call it behind the scenes the Weston show, because he steals it every time.
It's not only that. We got to listen to Greg.
No. I understand. I love the fact that Weston takes control of it, it seems like. He's always in the middle of it.
Give his condescending fucking speeches about, like even the one going into the World Cup. Here's what you want to do. Like when I think back, there's one World Cup I don't talk about, and there's one World Cup I do talk about. What you're doing here is you're creating a fucking story for the future. No, dude. Be in the moment. Don't worry about the fucking future. Be in the moment now. Don't worry about what stories you're going to tell. Man, don't even worry about that shit. Let's all focus about what's going on right now. Nothing else matters. The future doesn't matter necessarily, although what you do here, obviously, blah, blah, blah. But don't worry about this being a fucking World Cup you don't want to talk to your kids about, or, you're this girl you're trying to pick up at a bar 20 years from now. It just doesn't matter. I hate all his little spiels.
Yeah.
I hate all his spiels are stupid. They're all dumb. Like, we're still talking about how we're going to change the way the rest of the world views American soccer.
Didn't he correct that in one of the pressers? He's like, that's not exactly what I said. I said
that is exactly
we're gonna change the way the world views and our country views American soccer. Something along those lines. It's like he added something in there. It's like basically he's acknowledging like the world's not gonna think shit at this point. You got to do a lot more to do that. So it's like, oh, I've got to make sure the country is changing the way they view us.
Okay, then go watch Moose's little 8-minute individual video that on US Soccer YouTube. He again says the exact same quote for quote, as if he has not gotten the memo from someone. He should not be talking about that anymore, because no one fucking cares about how the world thinks of us. Like that's the girl in the corner who has like a complex at the big dance, right? The high school dance. We don't need to be that. She just needs to be herself. All right? Be herself, because she's pretty and she's beautiful, but she's so insecure that's what she's worried about. If she drops the insecurity, the guys are going to be like, damn, she is pretty and she's confident. And I like that shit. All right. The world has better things to talk about.
Think about.
Yes. They don't care about what. So they don't give a shit about us. So they got all kinds of other teams to worry about. Spain, Germany, France, England, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina.
You got to worry about England?
Holland.
What? They just watched us and figured out how to do it now. If only they had a team like us that could score a goal, England wouldn't amount to much.
So, no, not really. Nobody really worries about them. But still, we're the least of everybody's worries right now in like the top 20, okay, in the world.
I would just settle for, America's not a pushover.
We're not.
There we go. Problem solved. I don't need them to say, oh, they're the next Brazil.
They're world class. They're mind blowing. We don't even have a world class player on our team yet. Okay, that's a controversial thing to say.
We do. He just sits on the bench right now.
Reyna is going to be a world class player.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't doubt it for a second. And Adams might get there too, but only specifically at the position he plays, not because he's going to score goals and light shit on fire. He's just going to be a very dominant defensive midfielder. And I think going forward, Leeds is going to be lucky to hold on to that guy after what he has done at this World Cup so far, even. But I think he's a pretty loyal guy, so he'll probably stay at Leeds. But people are going to seek his services. I think most Leeds fans are like, yeah, fuck Phillips. You don't give a fuck if he left because we got fucking Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
All right.
Rant alert.
We're 20 minutes in, and we've talked about half of what we need to talk about this whole Iran thing.
Okay.
Iran conversation.
Iran.
Yeah. Iran.
Iran.
But I wanted to split it up a bit and bring in some lightheartedness and talk about some transfer rumors, because they're already here. We're not even in the season yet.
You know what? Spanish people call us Estados Unidos all the time. I never correct them and say, you mean United States. Never have I corrected them. Ever. So sorry, dude. That Tyler didn't pronounce your country's name perfectly. It's pretty close. And by the way, if you're an American and you look at that word, it looks like Iran. He's sounding it out just like a kindergartner. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've had to tell people who the EU team is when watching.
I mean, what are all the people that live in München going to be pissed off because we pronounce it Munich and the Brits pronounce it Bayern Munich when it's Bayern München, or we pronounce it Cologne when it's Köln? So we're worried about Iran versus.
Seriously, man, if it comes down to pronunciations, I feel like I probably would start World War III.
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce shit. Like, I'm sorry, say it again. It's like the scene from Ted Lasso when it's like Zorro is going to be taking over and goalkeeper. It's Zorro. Yeah, Zorro. No, Zorro.
Zorro.
He goes, I don't know what's happening here. But yeah, so I wanted to jump into some transfer news, a little lightheartedness. We've got some people in here. Let's talk about the hard-hitting stuff.
Okay, you know how I feel about these transfer rumors.
Well, this isn't necessarily a transfer rumor, but it's kind of leaking into one.
Okay.
Apparently, Juventus might be doing some bad things again. So apparently, Juventus is being investigated for financial irregularities. The entire board resigns. Potential significant punishments could await.
Whoa. Some big-ass names on that board, by the way. Including Pavel Nedved. Yeah.
So the whole board's out. They're already in financial trouble anyways. So when Conte comes and tries to place a bid for Weston, they may actually take it.
Maybe so. Oh, by the way, the girl at the bottom, Suzanne.
Yeah.
Her real last name, she married David Jablomi.
I knew I was going to go there. I knew you were going with that. All right. But yeah, Brian continues. He says relegation would be a massive blow to Serie A, not just Juventus. The relegation from 2006 scandal was bad enough. Second in 20 years. Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing there, but they need to get their book straight. Period. I mean, they should have learned their lesson the first time. I don't know.
We won't get caught again.
The only reason I give a fuck about Juventus anyhow is because McKennie plays there. That's it. Otherwise, I wouldn't give two flying fucks. Yeah, I know they're your team, but they're not mine. They're not mine.
Yeah. So speaking of Juventus, and this rumor came out before all of this financial irregularities came out. But Yunus Musa is being sought after by Inter and Juventus.
Well, scratch out Inter.
Scratch out Inter?
I mean, scratch your Juventus. Yeah.
Looks like Inter might have free reign for him.
I don't think he's going to go to Inter either. I think there are plenty of English teams, West Ham, you name it. They're going to go after this kid. Newcastle. I think the guys, the teams that are financially stable are going to go after him. And by the way, why would you go from playing in Spain, which is a so much better league than Italy, to go playing in Italy? Honestly, it's a step backwards. Just saying. Bigger club,
I will
traditionally,
say,
but still a step back.
I will say, though, he has an in Italy because he has an Italian passport. He also has an English passport because he's English. But yeah, so he wouldn't count as a foreign player for Inter if they did get him. So that may be one reason why they may pony up the cash. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Just stay at Valencia. That's a good enough team right now. Now, the only complaint I have there is they play him, but, does he always get to play where he's best? Not always. They played him out wide for a while, but more recently he's been playing more in the midfield. So, I don't know. Just stay at Valencia. Make the best of that.
So really figured out where he needs to play him. So I'm fine with him staying at Valencia as well.
It's not like Inter Milan's like a giant step up. It just isn't. It's not. It's a baby step up to a big name team that isn't as sparkly and wonderful as they once were. They're just not.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Eunice.
Let's see here. We have Anthony Robinson's getting sought out by Inter Milan as well, apparently.
Oh, come on. No.
They love them English boys.
No, don't do it. Don't do it, Anthony. Just go to stay at Fulham or go to a better English club.
Well, there definitely plenty of interest within EPL for him as well. I don't have the the rumor pulled up. That's just what it is. It's a rumor. But you can't deny that there are probably some mid-table teams, consistent mid-table teams in EPL that aren't looking at Robinson and saying,
"Oh yeah,
I think he'd be. Maybe Fulham can drop some more points and go relegation again. Then we can pick him up."
Yeah, probably. I don't think Fulham's going
to drop either.
Yeah, I don't think they're relegation fodder this year. I think they're going to be just under mid-table. But yeah, I think Robinson should just focus on doing really well with Fulham this year. And I don't think that offer is going to come in the winter transfer anyhow. I don't think it is. It might, but I doubt it because Fulham want to make sure they stay up this season. And who do you have behind Robinson for left back? And by the way, left backs are rare. You don't just go giving those away. So if somebody does come, they're going to have to pay a fine penny for them.
Well, that's the thing. That's the funny thing talking about left backs and how like we've always struggled as a nation creating good left backs. You have to think the small percentage of people who are left-handed, left-footed, and naturally speaking, is again smaller. And then you have to take those people and say, okay, this portion of that is athletic, and then that portion is going to play soccer. That portion is going to play this sport. That portion is going to get lost trying to play this sport over here. And left back is generally just a second right back for the most part, unless you happen to stumble across a decent left-footed player.
Look at all the sports. Left-handed people in baseball, very important. Left-testicled porn stars, extremely highly valued. Apparently anyhow, no, I'm not going to say that. All right. What do we got next?
More talk from Liverpool is interested in Christian Pulisic again. It's a Tuesday.
No.
But they were looking for Pulisic and basically stated that if they could get Pulisic on the right price, they'd be looking at him along with Bellingham. But I know Chelsea's looking at Bellingham too. So who knows?
Bellingham can go anywhere. Pulisic better find the right team. You tell me who he's going to come in for on the wings.
I don't know. Klopp has been a big fan of him since Dortmund days. So it wouldn't be surprising if he was truly interested, but just looking at the price tag and saying, "We can't get that." You kidding? We could, but not for you. Sorry.
If I'm Pulisic, I'm going to be like, I'm going to just be riding the pine like I do at Chelsea. No, I'm not going to Liverpool. Why would I do that? I'm fourth, fifth choice on the fucking depth at Liverpool. No.
I also saw a tweet on here, and I didn't pull it up for some odd reason, or sometime today maybe I did. But the talk of Pulisic going to Man U on a loan is still in talks.
Can we stop it with the Man U and the fucking Liverpool and the Inter Milan and the Juve? Can we stop it with that? These players need to find clubs they can play at on an everyday basis. He goes to Man U, we got the same problem we got at Chelsea. He goes to Liverpool, you got the same problem he is at Chelsea. He's got other guys competing for those positions who are better than him in some ways, at least more experienced than him. Why do you want to go through that? I guess it makes you better if you have to battle for the 15 minutes scraps at the end of the game. I guess I just want him to start every game. I don't want him to have to deal with that. Go somewhere where you start, bud. That's what I tell Pulisic.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's my take too. Again, and that might take him out of contention for a Champions League team. But I've talked about this enough that I don't necessarily see the value unless you're consistent in playing at the club where you're going to get a Champions League time. I don't see the value of going to a Champions League club just to get the Champions League time and not play during the rest of the season much.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather him go to a top mid-table team where they may be contending for a Europa or a Champions League spot, but he's consistently playing week in, week out. That's what I want to see.
Oh, before we move on to the next topic, there was a guy during the Wales show when I watched it, and I got to watch the comments a day after, who was calling me a douche. Can't remember what his name was. Hey, dude, suck my cock. All right?
I think if memory serves me correct, and that Wales game was like a week ago, man.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
I'm pretty sure that was the same guy that came on like a month or two ago that just rode your dick all show.
Probably.
I think it was. And he just hasn't been on since. Or maybe he has been under a different name as his actual name.
Yeah.
I think it was the big soccer guy. Like, I
Might have been
from Big Soccer, man. He was a douchebag then too.
Never been a douche. It's not like I was born with a fucking silver spoon in my mouth. But I do have a douche detector, and that guy seems like a douche. That's a douche calling another guy a douche who's a douche. All right. What do we got?
Okay, so your pick. Do you want to finish off the flag situation and all the pressers, or do you want to jump over to Reyna?
Let's do the flags first. Let's just get it over with since we already started on it.
I've already done the CNN, so I'm going to get rid of that one because I don't actually play it because I feel like CNN would actually strike us, and I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah,
all right. So, pulling up our good friend Grant Wahl, and he picked up a lot of goodwill today on Twitter, by the way.
Did he?
No, not really.
Okay.
So I'm not going to pull up the tweet because I have to find it, but he basically went on a small little rant saying that if you have to use the words woke and virtue signal, we know what side of the aisle you sit on, is basically what he said.
Who said woke?
Well, he didn't specify anybody, but Nico Cantor
Mm-hmm.
came out and said, hey, bro, it's clear you're talking to me. And then he explains, like, I'm on the side with human rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I went back and took a look at his whole Twitter thread, and he basically ripped USSF a new one, but he's on this. It's obviously on the side of supporting the Iranian women as well. But he said that this was a virtue signal. This is all about woke points and stuff like that. And Grant responded by simply saying, like, well, you were like one of hundreds of people that were saying the same thing, so I didn't want to call out everybody. I'm like, bro, I don't know about that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when Grant goes on these Twitter rampages, he should just stop ahead of time and just accept the no from the get-go.
Didn't Grant run for president of U.S. Soccer once? Wasn't he talking about, or did he run for FIFA president? Which one was it?
I don't know either. I mean, he may have ran for FIFA president because he talked about, for the longest time, he talked about the corruption at the FIFA level. So maybe he did go that route. I don't know.
I don't know. I hope he was joking. But what are the quotes below? Let's see. Question: what percentage of the population will be happy?
No, don't go there.
Okay.
Question 1.
Why is it that you do not ask your government take away its military fleet from the Persian Gulf? Well, they would have nothing. They may not even know that they're there. They are there. They've been there for a long time in the Persian Gulf. We've always had a fleet nearby or within a day or two of getting there. We've been there for a while.
Well, and
why are
we
there? Why?
I had to ask. I can't think of his last name, but Alex on Twitter, Chicago Fire guy. He had asked, he goes, are we really at this point where they're asking these questions? And I go, wait a minute. Are you saying that Greg Berhalter has, or in parentheses I put, or does not have the power to call back fleets to stateside? And it just so happens, it turns out he does.
How crazy was the press conference today? This is from Phil Herwitcom. How crazy was that press conference today? I feel for Greg and Tyler. They were put in a crazy situation because of some dipshit at USSF. I don't think we've determined it's a USSF person specifically. Could be a team guy, right? Who put this out?
From what I heard from somebody else on here, it was just a community manager of the Twitter.
I don't like the name of that. What the fuck does that mean? Community manager.
Basically, the way I would take that is it's an unpaid position of somebody that they trust to run the Twitter feeds.
Oh, he's paid. Come on.
An unpaid internship is my guess.
Janitor?
Yeah.
In the basement of U.S. Soccer? I mean, come on. That guy's getting paid. Nobody lets something as big as the U.S. Women's national team, or if it is, then they're completely a fucked up organization with no fucking control over what's going on. if they let some dweeb who's an intern publish that without anyone's approval whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
If that's what happened, that's almost worse than making a bad choice. That's just fucking incompetent leadership and incompetent organizational setup. All right.
Dude, an unpaid intern doesn't photo edit Iran's flag. Well, I mean, it could easily do that. I do all of the editing on our thumbnails and stuff like that. I'm not an expert by any means. I just know how to run a couple things.
No, what he's saying is, Brett.
He's saying he doesn't just post things. He doesn't just get away with posting that. Is that what you're saying?
No, what he's saying is that's a big decision to make. That's a major decision. Like, okay, what we're going to do is put up a post and we're going to exclude and cross out and take out the part about Allah and God on their flag and just make it. No, dude, because if they would have used the prior flag from the 80s before, the Shah was overthrown, which had I believe the sun and something else on it. Can't remember. But that would be one thing. All right. But this, and that's saying, hey, we support whatever was going on or prior to the Khomeini coming to power.
No,
so,
I don't think a intern has gone rogue. And quite frankly, to the point that Derek brought up earlier, there's definitely somebody that signed off on it. 100%.
Definitely.
I just said that a community manager is generally thought of as somebody in the community that they trust that's running their Twitter feed. I don't think they actually have a social media expert running everything. Because you can tell, because all their fucking social media sucks donkey balls.
I get that, Brett, because it's over fucking managed. Here is another situation that I think was managed. Somebody there sat down with others and said, let's do this. Yeah. Let's make the statement, because we've seen the Iranian crowd who, by the way, have been the anti-establishment crowd fighting the current administration in Iran. They've been carrying these flags without that symbol, okay? And they thought, let's get on board with them, okay? Mm-hmm. They didn't. I don't think they really thought about the repercussions of this. Like, okay, so they're allowed to do it, but we're not. We're the United States of America.
That's why you can tell them they didn't put any thought into it, because it was an immediate removal. It was within 24 hours, and they came up with some bullshit excuse like it was always going to be a 24-hour thing.
No,
well,
they
lied. Why the fuck would you even do it then?
They lied.
Yes.
Okay, they
lied.
That's
what I'm saying.
Because they did make a conscious decision. They regretted that conscious decision. Then they made some bullshit about it being about women in fucking Iran, which is fine. I support all the women in Iran too. I don't think they should be murdered at the age of 22. I get it. But this is not the way to say that. This is not the way to do that. If you want to make a comment, maybe you do it after the game, but not before the game. All right, after the game.
They could have easily just did a written post somewhere on all media saying we support the women in Iran, blah, 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 blah. That way,
support the people of Iran.
Yes.
And the women. Yes. And their civil rights. So, yes, although, I mean, are we really the people out here to be talking about people's civil rights? I don't know. We have our own record with it. So, listen, all I can say is this was done on purpose. Somebody blew it. And this is the real fucking thing that pisses me off. No one is going to hold those group of people accountable for anything. No. They're just going to say community manager, which means, some schmuck, some small schmuck who has no power, no decision-making, made a decision. Well, that makes you look like a schmuck because your job is to manage that person if that's how you're doing it. And the other part is there's no accountability. If there's no accountability, and that's USSF and U.S. Soccer's major thing. No one's ever accountable for a blown message, for a screwed up fucking post, for the complete lack of coverage of this team in general. This is their thing. This is their shtick. They are a fucking horrendously disorganized, confused organization.
Well, not on the topic of Iran, not Iran. Sorry. I kept getting tagged by I think the same guy over the past week talking about the U16 camp that's going on. Now, if you paid attention to the U.S. Youth National Team Soccer Twitter handle, you'd have no idea outside the fact that there is a U16 camp that's going on. Just the fact that it said, "Hey, the boys are in Spain." That's all you know. And there's some random guy who's probably in Spain posting the news about the information. Here are the scores of the U16. They tied their first game. They beat their next 2 games. It was a great friendly weekend or whatever for them. And they keep tagging me. I'm like, why the fuck am I not hearing this from the actual Twitter handle directed towards the youth national team?
Yes. You're absolutely right. Because the youth team national teams might as well be a queef swirling around in a black hole in space somewhere, because these morons don't really fucking, I don't know, they don't care. They certainly don't even look like they're trying to pretend they care. That's the amazing thing. They actually don't even pretend to care. They're just like, yeah, whatever. We just do it. And look at this shit. Look at the fucking U.S. Soccer YouTube page. What is this jackassery? This fucking diarrhea coming out on this. It's just senseless shit.
It's beyond me, because the YouTube channel should have content coming out of the fucking wazoo right now, because it is the fucking World Cup. You've got 26 players there. There should be 3 videos a day on that fucking channel right now. Guarantee, but they're not developed. They're not creating. And the way to incorporate new young watchers of the sport is to hit up fucking social media, and they're doing a shit ass fucking job of it.
It's like their whole communications is run by a midget. No, not a midget. I'm sorry. I take that back.
Person.
A little person with Klinefelter syndrome. I just cannot think of anybody more incompetent than U.S. Soccer. They are the worst at this. Like, you couldn't do any worse than this if somebody like fucking sledgehammered your head and said, "Okay, now run the show. Yeah, dumbass. Now that your IQ's down to like 72 because we took a sledgehammer to half your brain." I mean, seriously, dude, okay, as a marketing manager and director for years, this just startles me how incompetent they are. I could do a better job in 1 week doing this stuff than they do.
They are flushing money down the drain. They have all the fucking access in the world to the players, all the youth teams, all the players. There's content that can be created for days.
Dedicated fans.
Yeah. And even if it pulls in 2,000-3,000 views for a U16 interview,
do it
after a game. Do it, because that's going to pull in more people to the channel. It's going to eat more of the content up. I mean, it is the biggest fucking waste ever. Their social media sucks royal.
They're an embarrassment. They are an embarrassment.
Here's the tweet, by the way.
Big congrats to the U.S. U16s on their 2-1 victory over England and Christian McFarland. This was not a full-strength U.S. roster either. Tournament results: 2-2 draw versus Spain, 4-1 win over Wales, 2-1 win over England. Nice. Thank you, Chuck, because Chuck covered it for the U.S. Soccer.
Yeah, and then he goes on. There's more. There's U20s going on, the U19s, U17s. All this shit is not being broadcasted anywhere.
And listen, I understand they should be focused on the World Cup right now. I get it, but you could still put up some small blurbs on the youth team Twitter.
At the very minimum, on the youth national team Twitter, they should be going into detail. The fucking coaches should be sending in things that the manager, the community manager, whoever runs that channel, and say, "Hey, post this, post this." We should be seeing this shit all over the place, but it's bullshit. Thank you to
Skang.
He's the one who tagged us into it.
Thank you, Skang. Listen, I think we should call him the community janitor, but I do think that is a bullshit excuse. They are basically pinning this on some small dude and saying, none of us approved it. None of us did. It was just this rogue dude. Bullshit, you fucking lying sacks of shit. What a bunch of lying sacks of shit. Sacks of shit. Think about a sack of shit. That's what these people are. Like a fucking balloon full of fucking dog fucking shit. That's what we're looking at here. And I'm sorry. I am so done with this fucking jackassery, fucking, freshman league, fucking marketing and the way they handle themselves. I'm so done with it. It's embarrassing to be an American fan. They are so incompetent. It really is. I love the boys. I'm going to root for the team. I love the team. But, man, this is just so it's so unhealthy bad.
I've got a brilliant idea that they could go with. So you have these channels, these grassroots, YouTube channels that love to report on things. And I know that some of us aren't necessarily USSF's biggest friends by any means.
You don't say.
But I mean, you could say, hey, we'll pay for your ticket. We'll pay for accommodations for you to stay at the same hotel. You go there, film highlights, talk to the players, do whatever you want to do, and you can post the shit. Because looking at Tact and Pete and using them as an example, they have more eyes on their content than USSF does on their YouTube channel, hands down.
Oh yeah,
we rival the USSF with our content as far as views.
Yeah, for video.
I'm just saying, there's you don't have to pay somebody full time to do this shit. You could literally pay on a camp by camp basis to have this covered. Because there are plenty of people that are willing to go and do that. They're more than happy to take time off work, get flown out to Spain, and watch some fucking soccer. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, hold on there. You've already hit the crux of the problem, though. They're a very insular, insecure organization.
True enough.
They had one of the worst ratings on Glassdoor, not but just 5 years ago. The worst ratings on Glassdoor. They are one of the most fucked up organizations, and that's comparing them to all the corporations and organizations in the country. They had one of the worst ratings on Glassdoor. Their fucking people that work for them hate working for U.S. Soccer. Mm-hmm. What does that tell you about the culture there? Maybe it's improved since Ernie's there, but I doubt it because Ernie was already there when these ratings were coming out, and then he told everybody they had to live in Chicago. But they want to coach the team. And most of the coaches that were any good said, fuck off, dick. All right? I mean, we got lots of arrogance. That's another big problem with this group. And I thought maybe having McBride involved would be helpful. But let's be honest, McBride sucked it up, and he's playing his role. He's not a major contributor as far as, what's going to really happen within the doors and what goes on there. So I like McBride, and I used to love Ernie. But, boy, since he joined Philly and then went to U.S. Soccer, I thought, this guy's kind of a fucking, really, really arrogant prick. I don't know. He seems a lot like Precky to me. But, okay, what else we got?
Well, Admiral GGG leads a fleet versus Iran. The 4-star general right there, or whatever the fuck it is in the Navy.
I think that's still my original penis head for Greg.
Yeah, I think it is too. Let's see. I think I have more on this. So, yeah. So, Superior U.S. men's national team here posts some things about the flag. And Brandon comes on here and starts talking about USS fans, et cetera, et cetera. He goes off about it. But basically, us not taking a stand against these injustices, if you will. And, it's just like funny that people drop in during the World Cup and think they know what's been going on for the past 4 years. Literally USS Twitter. So Steven goes, in which port is the boat stationed? And I said, I suspect that's the boat the journalist asked Greg about. So
yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. We got let's see what other questions did they ask?
Listen, I just want to say it's not about not saying that we should take a stand on issues. But once you've decided to do that, then just do it in a statement or do it this way or that. But don't do that fucking symbolic, unprofessional, what's that called when you avoid conflict? What do you call those people who don't like conflict? They don't want to, shit.
Pacifists?
Passive aggressive. Don't do it in a passive aggressive way. Just if you have a statement to make the fucking statement. Don't do a passive aggressive attack on their flag or whatever.
Sorry.
Ridiculous shit.
You gotta hold this back up here. Mitch is sad I didn't read the last part of it. Admiral GGG leads U.S. to battle against Iran. Seaman Gio MIA believed to be hurt. Okay, so jumping back to the questions.
What percentage of the population of the world will be happy because of the win of the national team of Iran? And what percentage of the whole population of the world will be happy if the United States soccer team wins? I don't know. That's like asking me if I care how the rest of the world views U.S. soccer. I don't care. But
well, I mean, if I were Tyler, I'd be like, I don't fucking know.
Oh, this is the question to Tyler?
This is a question asked Tyler and Greg. I'm not sure which one it went to. This is a question I was asked.
Okay, the percentage of people that will be excited about the Iranian team winning will be very small. And they will be mostly living in Iran. And the percentage of the whole population of the world that will be happy that the United States soccer wins will be all of the United States.
I was literally going to say it basically be the people who would be happy to see Iran win are people from Iran. They did both there. Right. And the people who are expecting to play second place in Group B.
Right.
That team's going to go, fuck yeah. And the only people that are going to be happy for the U.S. to win are U.S. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's be frank about this.
And
nobody else fucking cares.
And some English Leeds fans, that. But I mean, there are some Leeds fans that are like, oh, yeah, fucking Adams.
David basically said in 4 words that I said in like a paragraph. Iran and U.S. care.
Totally true. And there's a lot more of us than there are of Iranians.
Suck it.
Just number-wise. That's just a stat. It's just true. I've been at New York about 2 months ago, and there was no support of your team as the high rise of inflation and economical problems. Do you think the American people support your team and you, or no? They don't care about it. Man, this guy can suck a fat one. He's just basically saying,
people.
Huh?
I think these are all multiple people.
I know, but this particular dude can suck a fucking fat bag of dicks, because that's just basically saying, hey, Iran, we're a lot. We're way better than you. You guys have all kinds of problems, and we're awesome. Well, fuck you. You got lots of problems too, dick. So don't try to spin it the other way. All right? You got plenty of your own problems. So don't spin it the other way.
Fred Baker asks better questions.
He certainly does. Tyler, oh God, do I really have to read a Stu Holden post?
Yeah, I think it's a quality post, actually.
All right, did he do something good? All right.
Yes.
Tyler Adams.
He did good.
Okay. Tyler Adams mispronounced Iran and was called out by the Iranian journalists who follow up with a question on discrimination in the United States. Here was his response, an all-time classy answer. Well, that describes Adams into a T.
100%, yeah. We're gonna play the clip here, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a classy motherfucker.
All right.
You say you support the Iranian people, but you're pronouncing our country's name wrong. Our country is named Iran.
You know what I would have said right then? Fuck off, dick. And then I wouldn't have been the captain on the team anymore.
Yeah.
I would have said, suck my fucking dick. And he would have gone. But continue your question. But I just want to just interrupt you there and say, suck my cock. All right, next question. Keep continuing with the question.
Please, once and for all, let's get this clear.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for, let's once and for all, let's get it clear that you're going to be deep throating this shit in just about a second.
I think it's pretty clear that Tyler is a better person than any of us. That any of the 144 people watching us and the 2 people talking right now, because I'm sure all of us would have a choice response or two ready to roll. He rolls right with it.
He's thinking it. No, he's thinking it though. Look at him. He's thinking it.
You motherfucker.
He's thinking, what a cocksucker. But he's gonna do the right thing, because that's Tyler.
Speaking of all, are you okay to be representing a country that has so much discrimination against black people in its own borders? And we saw the Black Lives Matter movements over the past few years.
My apologies.
Somebody's watched the news apparently.
Oh, and there's so many black people in Iran, like African people are in Iran, right? Just tons of them, and they're welcomed with open arms. Bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Somebody made one of the questions I was asked was something along the lines of like, you can fly into Iran. You're welcome to fly to Iran, but people from Iran are not welcome to fly into America. Do you think that's right or wrong? And again, all these questions are like, guys, I'm here for a fucking soccer tournament. I'm not here to preach the gospel of activism. Leave me alone.
Well, listen, I could get into all the politics of this. I could get into the difference between the Shia and like the differences between different Muslim faiths. I'm not going to do that here because it's not appropriate. This is a soccer show. There is a difference. And listen, you could compare Saudi Arabia to Iran, and I would actually say women in Iran have a lot more freedom than Saudi Arabia. Yet Saudi Arabia are our best fucking buddies, apparently. All right, so you tell me what's going on there. I don't want to get into it any further than that because there's a lot of other things I could go over that make this whole thing very questionable. Like, who do we pick as our friends, and how do we do that? How does that all come about? Anyhow, go ahead.
Chris Carey, they asked Joe Biden's press secretary whether or not we should play a 4-2-3-1 today.
Oh, I'm going to apologize to you, Brett. I did rewatch the game, and yeah, there were instances we played a 4-4-2. You're right. I had to go back and watch it, though, to see it and believe it. McKennie playing out wide as much as he did. That happened.
Apologies on the mispronunciation of your country. Yeah, that being said, there's discrimination everywhere you go.
I mean, the whole thing could end right there, too. He continues and expounds upon it, and we'll listen to the rest of it here. But yes, there is discrimination everywhere.
Hey, man, go to Italy, go to Eastern Europe. Yeah, it's there. I don't know how many people here travel, but it's alive and well, discrimination. Even religious discrimination. Both groups can be quote unquote white. They still fucking hate each other. All right? Because of religion, because of cultural differences, because of historical differences between the groups. So, I mean, listen, he's right. This shit's all over the place. And it's not, sometimes has nothing to do with just race. It has something to do with religion and culture too. So discrimination's everywhere.
Biden would have called it PFOC.
One thing that I've learned, especially from living abroad in the past years and having to fit in different cultures, is that in the U.S. we're continuing to make progress every single day. I grew up in a white family with obviously an African American heritage and background as well. So I had a little bit of different cultures, and I was very, very easily able to assimilate in different cultures.
So I didn't get this part. I didn't know he grew up in a white family.
I didn't either.
This is news to me. With a black heritage. So I'm confused by that. I haven't researched Tyler's parents, but I like the story. I mean, it's the story of America.
I haven't researched anybody's parents, unless those parents had played for the national team prior, like Gio's did.
Or the parents call me.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't bother looking in the backstories. I mean, I like you hear about like the backstory with Dempsey about how he made a team up in whatever Dallas or whatever. And they had to drive 3 hours to go to practice and 3 hours back. 4 days a week or whatever. That's a fun conversation to listen to. But I never really bother looking into anybody's parents because why would you?
I've never done it. I've just had parents of players call me before out of nowhere or contact me. So, I mean, I don't know anything about them generally until I talk to them.
Brian says his mom is white and she remarried to a white dude, and obviously his dad's black. I don't know.
Okay. That's cool.
This is America.
That shit happens.
Yeah.
It's America, man. lots of people fucking having kids and then switching partners. Shit happens.
Oh, here we go. Black dad, white mom with white stepdad. There you go.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
John said he watched a video about him on YouTube.
Thank you, guys. I did not know that about Tyler. I've heard him say his family was diverse before, but I never looked any further into it than that.
Again, why would you? Now, again, to John's point, you may stumble across that watching some kind of a 6-minute documentary on Tyler Adams. He talks about his life, but who fingers through Wikipedia to find out that information?
It's not on Wikipedia.
I'm using that as an example.
Yeah. That story isn't, unless it's been added recently. I have read his Wikipedia page. Yeah. All right. What else we got?
Not everyone has that ease and the ability to do that, and obviously it takes longer to understand. And through education, I think it's super important. Like you just educated me now on the pronunciation of your country. So it's a process. I think as long as you see progress, that's the most important thing.
I hope this went into their Iranian at the national television. And you saw this dick ask these dicky questions. And then the people watching it said, wow, he's a really likable guy.
Yeah.
And
like I said, a much better person than 95, 98% of the people here.
So when I was growing up, and I was just like 5 years old, and we were an army base, our neighbors were Iranian. And the reason they were Iranian is because we had a very close relationship with the Shah at the time of Iran. And they would have their Iranian officers and army folks come over and train with us. So this isn't the only, I had Iranian neighbors. I had Pakistani neighbors. So I got to meet like everything right away. They were just kids to me, man, just like me. And they didn't think of anything like that's how we rolled, man. So I think we just got to realize that in the end, hey, man, I know that they've got a government that is run by a religious organization. I understand that. But the Iranian people are, for the most part, were pretty westernized prior to this and still are. They still are pretty westernized. They're not, the people themselves are great people. They're very good people. I can't speak for the government. That's a whole different question. And I know during the Clinton administration, things seemed to be getting better. Like we were having more back and forths. I believe the U.S. men's wrestling team, Olympic team went over and did a wrestling thing versus Iran. And I thought, okay, maybe things are going to get better. Nope. But there's a lot more to this. Obviously, this is not a political show, so I'm not getting into it. But there we go. All right.
I guess as a whole, the big issue with something like this, the whole incident that we've been talking about for the last hour and 3 minutes, more or less, is you don't want to give the Iranian team something to build a motivation on, you know? There's already a lot of heat behind this politically. You don't want to give them an emotional build, something to build upon.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because Seb, with Hercules, was talking about this today, and Seb said, "Do you think the Iranian players feel we're on their side because they've been protesting too? And do they see this protest as being on their side, pro them?" rather and against the state, because the Iranian players have made various statements. Some of them have that they're with the people and not with the government. So
is the symbol? I don't know shit for this, but is the symbol itself that got removed in correlation to just the government, or is it religiously bound?
So prior to the overthrow of the Shah, the flag had a different symbol on it. Okay. When the Shah was overthrown, and Khomeini came to power, they added that Arabic symbol about Allah to it, okay, for obvious reasons. They were an Islamic republic, as they called it. All right, so the flag's only been around, but it is the flag of Iran, is the official flag currently of Iran. I wouldn't fuck with anybody's flag, frankly. I just think that's a bad idea. I wouldn't fuck with them, the flag. So I just wouldn't do it.
The CNN broadcast I had pulled up earlier, they talked about the very end. The part that I pulled up to listen to, but I went against it because I didn't trust CNN not to screw us over. But he talked about how basically at this point, Iranian officials are actively seeking the U.S. to get shit canned from this World Cup.
It ain't happening.
And a 10 match FIFA ban.
It ain't happening.
Then I found there's a little bit of irony here in the sense that, and again, maybe this may be ignorance coming out of my mouth here, but the pundits from Iranian state news agencies that have been pushing that for like the past 24 hours. If you click on their profiles, the top of their Twitter handles generally more often than not showed an American flag burning. So I don't know. I find it a little ironic, a little hypocritical.
That's been going on for years. Sure. There.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna bitch about somebody fucking up with somebody's flag, then don't fuck around with somebody else's flag. I guess I don't know.
FIFA will never ban the U.S. ever. No. If they do, they can say goodbye to future sponsors, Budweiser, Frito-Lay, the insurance companies, Geico, everybody. They can kiss their ass, all that money goodbye. And all FIFA cares about is money. Let's be very honest here. They don't care with that whole Stop Racism campaign. Bullshit. Complete bullshit. They never cared about it. Yeah. It's just a slogan to them.
I think the actual post itself was never intended to be a 24-hour post. And I think somebody from FIFA reached out and said, guys, get that the fuck out of here. Come up with an excuse or something because we don't need to be dealing with this. FIFA does not need to be dealing with this right now.
Also, there is tension. They've already reported fights and brawls going on between pro-establishment, pro-Khomeini Iranians and free Iranians who live all over the world now. They don't even live in Iran, but they're against the administration and those that do. So do we need to spur up more of the violence outside of the stadiums? Is that what we need? That seems like a poor idea. Well done, U.S. men's national team.
Brilliant.
Janitor, whoever posted that, take responsibility.
Yeah, Daniel,
someone needs to take responsibility.
We talked about Juventus right around the 20-minute marker.
Yes.
So this is my main reason why you don't want to do something stupid like this on the eve of a match, especially an already heated, contested match, is you have a player from Croatia here.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, he wants to thank the Canadian coach for motivating the team to beating the curb stomping them 4-1. So that's why you don't give them anything to build off of. It's just a stupid thing to do.
That was on Herdman. I don't think Greg had anything to do with this post.
Oh no, 100%. I agree with you on that. I'm just saying you don't want to give your opposition anything to motivate them more than the match already brings. Is what I'm saying.
And that's why I was bringing up Seb's point. Does this motivate them, or does this make them think more positively of the Americans in the sense that they believe that the Americans are supporting what they're supporting, which is women's rights and civil liberties or civil rights in Iran? I don't know the answer to that. No. I don't know the answer to that. Lots of Croatians in Canada. Hell yeah, there are.
There's a lot of Serbians too, right there.
Fucking shitload of Serbians and Croatians in Canada. And Australia, by the way. Lots.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump to a new topic here. I think we covered that quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not Davies coming up here and talking. We could have a whole show on some of his takes at this point.
We're not going to cover his take on the 9.
No, I don't have that pulled up. That'll be for another show because I feel like that's
no.
I feel like that's still going to be a talking point.
We can't wait for that to be another show.
Oh shit, dude! I don't have it pulled up, man. I'll have to pull it up. But
all right, let me sum it up.
Okay.
Charlie Davies basically said that our 9s are fucking awful, all 3 of them.
We don't have a clinical score, Derek.
Right, and so that's why we got to play Weah at the 9. To what? Also become useless?
Oh Jesus! There's did I pull this up? I don't get it. There's somebody had went out, and I don't know what app they're using or what feature or whatever, but they showed it was basically showed all the passes that occurred between all the players and like thicker lines, meaning they're passing more like Ream to so Zimmerman to Ream would be an extremely thick line because that's all the passes type of thing.
Right.
Guess what? In both Wales and the England match, Sargent and Haji had no lines drawn to them. That's not to say they didn't receive a pass, but it's so minute that it didn't register on the thing. Yeah. And it looks like a cup.
Yes.
It looks like a cup. And here, right here, Sargent or Haji. And none of the passes are going to them. And again, I don't know what feature it's coming from, but man.
So is that on Sargent and Haji and Ferreira when he played during qualifying?
They can't score. They don't get the chances.
Are those players that incompetent? I don't think so. I really don't think that that's the case. I don't think that Weah is like that major of a upgrade from Sargent in a center forward position.
You have to take into consideration what Greg's 9 does. And that's not
nothing.
Gonna work. That's not going to work to Weah's benefit. Weah's benefit is to be able to sit on the sideline, make those jaunty runs up and down, or wait for Sargent to pull the defense up and he makes that through run like he did against Wales.
Correct.
He's not unless we play a 4-4-2 again. And hopefully, if we do a 4-4-2, it's more of a diamond shape, and you have like Reyna at that diamond. There's a 10, perhaps.
Yeah,
but
otherwise,
that's fine. You want to play Weah as a striker, but in Berhalter's 4-3-3, Weah might be a little more useful. I don't even know if that's going to be the case.
So,
but it's going to be what he's hoping.
Charlie is called for Wright to play. Charlie's called for Sargent to play. He hasn't called for Ferreira, to be fair to him. But it ain't on the 9s, Charlie. That's not the problem. Those players aren't that incompetent. It's how the system works. That's why they don't get to touch the ball. And if Weah plays in that spot, he's not going to get to touch the ball too, as well, unless we play a 4-4-2. There you go. Cocktail slobbering on Sargent again. Other forwards needed chances. All forwards need chances. None of them get any chances, Berlin. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, on top of that, Sargent didn't play for like 9 months before getting called back in. So I don't know. The other forward question could be used at the expense of a Ferreira or a Pepi at that point. And I know Berlin likes Boyd, and who knows? Maybe on one of the friendlies in the September window, we could have given him a look. He was scoring goals. But
you know, and I know that's never going to happen. I don't care if Terrence Boyd's playing in 2 Bundesliga with Kaiserslautern and scoring goals, but PFOC's the real.
Yes, we both have preached PFOC.
Yes, we both have been pro PFOC the whole time.
I've been pro PFOC since the Nations League. And on top of that, I was one of the few people, I felt at least, that defended PFOC after that whole shamble of a missed opportunity in Mexico. Not I, but the collective I, like you and me, I. But I mean, it's absolutely. I think PFOC should have gotten more chances. He got the back into the horse or something.
I mean, nobody's gotten screwed worse than PFOC, really, in this whole situation. He might as well be one of those German goo girls on one of those videos, the anal ones, because that's what happened to him. He got shafted.
I think Berlin was busy writing the exact same thing I was saying.
Well, the word PFOC came out the same time that popped up, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right. What are you playing for me here?
This is we're into the Reyna conversation. So for those who've been living under a rock and aren't familiar with the whole debacle that's been going around the whole Reyna situation, I do want to reiterate I think we talked about this after the England match. I think we talked about this because I remember talking about because obviously you had Berhalter who said that he was injured for the Wales game or injured before the Wales game. That's why he didn't play. You had Reyna who said he was 100% healthy, and you had Wynalda that came out and said, there's a rift there. I've been consoling his dad, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to listen to Conrad's comments here too. If I recall correctly, and I've been drinking since then, so I may be wrong. Maybe I just thought it in my mind and never actually said it out loud. but I always felt it was like a happy medium, and everybody has some bit of information accurate.
Yeah.
I think maybe during that friendly leading into the World Cup, maybe Gio did say he felt a little tightness. But come Wales, Gio's like, I'm ready to roll. I'm 100%. Let's go. Berhalter's saying like, hey, he's not 100% healthy yet. We're gonna wait. And then I'm sure Gio's dad and Claudio and Wynalda probably been communicating to some extent, like, oh man, I hope he played. He does go into this in a clip later on. We're gonna pull up. I don't want to ruin it.
Jesus Christ, Claudio needs to know who he's talking to, because Eric is not the kind of guy to get some shit wound up in his nuts and not let it fucking spray all over the wall. That's what he does. So I don't know the guy. If I have secrets to tell, I'm not telling Eric Wynalda. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I'm sure. Listen. Eric's a good. He said he's honest dude, but he's probably a little too honest for me to say that, because he took this a little too far, because he honestly said Greg lied, which, by the way, Greg does do. He lied about Brooks. Yes, he's lied before. This is not new. He lied about Brooks's injury. Brooks went along with it. Okay. Many, many, many eons ago at this point, it seems like. But, yeah, I mean, he is a liar. So there you go. I mean, if I'm going to trust somebody in this scenario, when Reyna says he's healthy and Greg says he's got tightness, I'm going with Reyna.
Yeah, I mean, Reyna's also a kid that's eager to get on the field and play, and he may be like 95%. And I don't know. This is me. Well, I didn't realize I was playing already. This may be me speculating in that sense, but anytime I was hurt, when I wanted to play, I'm like, no, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. Let's put me out there.
I mean, listen, I get it, but I mean, all Greg had to say in that matchup versus Wales, I was looking for some verticality down the right. And Reyna's not going to give us as much verticality, because he likes that word, by the way, as Weah does. I mean, so
as Morris or whatever, at the 87th minute, you couldn't have thrown Aronson in for a couple minutes there.
I don't know. You mean Reyna? Aronson did play.
No, Morris played over Reyna. I'm saying, why did he put the verticality issue is a nonsense argument there at the 87th minute, because you only have, generally speaking, 3 minutes plus a couple minutes of stoppage time. Not this World Cup, though.
I agree.
It could have been easily 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't recall what it was, but I mean, still, if you're tied 1-1 at that point, you're gonna throw in somebody that might make a difference off of the limited minutes that you have left. And even if you think Reyna is 85-90% healthy, why would you not? I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, here's Conrad talking about the whole situation. This is before Eric came out again, and also before Berhalter had to address the situation in the presser as well
today.
So here's Conrad's explanation of it all.
So I think at some point we should talk Gio Reyna, because he didn't get the start today. There's been rumblings that maybe there was some back and forth between Gio and Greg about the situation, and I don't know much more than that, but I've caught some rumors floating around that there had been a stern talking to between the two, where both had words, and he gets in for 7 minutes. I don't know how much impact he can make in that. I wonder how we utilize him moving forward, because it seems right now where he's just.
All right, real quick. Good face there, Jimmy. But it looks so fake right there. Oh my God.
He looks like he's Jimmy Crackon and I don't care. Jimmy Crackon and I don't care. All right.
But so the rumblings. So far, just the bit that he's talking about here, what this makes it sound like is, again, Berhalter's choosing not to play Reyna in the Wales game because he wants him fully healthy for whenever. He said, "Well, your leg was tight a couple days. Your leg was tight a couple days ago, so I want you fully healthy." Reyna thinks he's 100% healthy. So they have this little they have this little spat, I went to play, and then Berhalter had to kind of set him in his place, sort of like what he did with Hoppy to an extent back in the Gold Cup era.
Sure.
And then, they gloss it over, because Eric does talk about here how he does mention, I think they've worked it out, recognize that they could have handled it better, and are moving on as should we. Focus on the next game.
Oh my God, somebody got to Eric. Here's what happened. Fucking Claudio gets on the phone, calls up Eric and says, hey, dude, you need to tamper this shit down. I think you came out too strong, my friend. I should have never told you in the first place because basically I knew you have a big yapper, but I think you took this a bit far. Can you tone it down? And he did. So, and he did it for a friend, which is a good thing because Gio's dad, Claudio, obviously doesn't want this to get any bigger than it is. And so it's over, right? I think it's a bit over at this point. But here's something that Greg should learn from this. Don't lie. Don't lie. Don't make up shit. Don't fucking make up shit and lie. Just generally stay within the fucking confinement of truth. But, you can do that without telling the whole truth, but just stay within the fucking limits of truth.
And again,
you don't have to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In Berhalter's defense, he might have still been under the impression and planned to, from the get-go, not playing Gio during Wales because of an issue of tightness in that friendly that was like 3 days prior or whatever. I'm just saying. He may have come to that conclusion at that point because otherwise, why the fuck would you not use him earlier? But anyways.
Okay. Oh, wait, Brian. You get a player report prior to every game on how, from the physios, on how every player is right there before you make your decision about who starts. I'm not buying that. I don't care about 3 days before. He knew that he was fit. Period. End of story. He knew he was fit. He even had to take it back and say later it was a coach's decision. He had to fucking eat his own lying.
The coach's decision could still be that, though. And I hate defending Berhalter in this situation.
No.
And I'm not saying that's just 100% accurate. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
You can.
I will.
But it doesn't work. I'm sorry. You get a report the day before the game, the day of the game, and before the game that tells you exact. So I don't care about 3 days ago. I want to know who's healthy right now. And that report basically said he is fit and ready to go. Now, if he would have said this, he said, listen, Gio had some tightness 3 days ago. His physio, his reports came in good today. They look good, but I still didn't want to risk it. That would have been a smart thing to say.
Okay, so but between the two comments, he was injured in the friendly, or he felt tightness during the friendly, and then it was a coach's decision. The only thing he didn't say is, we got the physio and he's good to go. That's the only difference between what you said and what I said between those two comments.
No, he should have said the physio was good to go.
I know that's what you're saying he should have said.
But I still didn't want to risk him because he's
too
important.
He was injured. It was a coach's decision. Those are the two statements that he went back and forth to. And what's splitting there is why it was a coach's decision. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, but nuance is very important. And that's why you need a real fucking goddamn communications secretary or whatever he's called, officer.
I hope he's called a secretary. That'd be funny.
To work with the coach to say, listen, if we're going to talk about this very serious situation, we need to address it with some level of fucking honesty. And if we're honest, Greg, even though he has tested and he's good to go, you still were worried about him getting injured because you weren't 100% sure he was ready to go. Or Greg could have said, we were going to play this way in this game with this setup. And Gio simply doesn't work with that setup. So we went with Timothy Weah. There's nothing wrong with saying that either.
Well, yeah, and I'll say he could have still have planned to use Timothy Weah regardless because Weah has been an absolute rock since he's been playing consistently for us.
Yes.
And still utilized Reyna at some point. To your point, if it was the idea that I don't want to use him in this match because it's a coaching decision, I want him fresh to go, or what doesn't fit my system, I want to play against Wales.
Could have said it right away.
Either way.
Could have said it right away.
Either way, yeah.
It was a coaching decision because I believe Timothy Weah is the better option for starting right now. That's all. Like Aronson doesn't start. We haven't seen any controversy about Aronson not starting, although Aronson could be starting.
In, though. He could be starting, yes. The controversy, I think, is more that Reyna's not really playing. Not necessarily not getting in. 7 minutes. Please.
It ain't much.
It's
You're right.
Nothing, you mean. It is nothing. Yeah. Hey, Reyna, it's
for one of the most the most talented player, highest ceiling talented player we have on our roster doesn't play.
Let's finish this up and let's listen to Wynalda talk also, and then
all right, go ahead.
Most of this up here.
Just kind of an afterthought, and that's frankly pretty surprising, given how much I thought, or I think we all thought, we were going to rely on him.
So you're saying it's an attitude problem?
I'm not saying it's an attitude thing. It can be a whole bunch of different things. I'm just saying that I know, or I've heard.
He's look. The reality is there's
and I don't know why there wouldn't be. I mean, he probably came into this thinking he was going to play, and then he's not.
So he's
not being used. Jordan Morris is going in over him, and then so here's a bit of the beef is that Gio's out talking in the press that he's 100% fit, and Greg is saying after the game that he's got a muscle strain, and that's already creating some gray area because they're not matching.
Yeah, I think.
So I think what he was going to say is he's a young player and he wants to play, so he's going to say he's 100% fit.
Let's not bullshit ourselves either. There's a lot of Hoppy in Reyna and a lot of Reyna and Hoppy. They have a lot of the same attitude about.
They're
yeah,
they're young and full of piss and vinegar.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, so this is Wynalda today. Because again, Berhalter gets asked a question, and it's Sam. I forget his last name. With MLS, Sam. I'll butcher it even if I knew how to say it. But
Stasel.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
And he basically said, "Hey, Greg, here's the controversy that everybody's talking about. Wynalda said X, Y, and Z. You said this. Gio said this. I just want to give you the chance to say something." And Greg doesn't really expound upon it in the answer. He just basically says, "Hey, that's not my thing is not to really lie. Tell it like it is. And if you want to listen to Wynalda, you can listen to Wynalda. If you want to listen to me, you listen to me." And he doesn't really talk about the topic. But then Eric has a follow up to his whole previous statement here.
All right.
First thing I need to clear up is that consoling Claudio Reyna, it's simply been two dads talking about a kid, text messaging him and saying, "Man, I really wish we could see the kid on the field. I really hoping he gets some more time." That's it. If anybody is putting the two together as if I'm getting information from Claudio Reyna.
Whoa. He used the word consoling.
Yes.
That's on Eric.
Yes.
That is, okay, so there are certain words in the English language that
he's a grieving father and I'm consoling him. Yeah.
That enunciate things like intimacy, like being intimate. So the word consoling is an intimate term. And Eric used that term and he shouldn't have used it because he's now saying it wasn't intimate. It was not an intimate conversation.
He does go on to talk about how there are definitely certain words and phrases that he would change if he could go back.
Okay.
So
I've never heard this.
That I needed to spell that immediately. That's not what was.
You can see why somebody might think that, though, right? The way it was said.
Absolutely.
Somebody got a call from Claudio. That's all I'm saying. And that was Eric.
Yeah.
The way it was said.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is one of those classic cases that, well, that's not what I meant to say. But, when you do go in front of the media and you paint a different picture, and then the other words that I wish I could take back is asking Gio to go along with it. No, he just expected him to go along with it is what.
So the expected to go along with the injured line, not because that's one thing he did say in the first one is like he told Gio to lie. And he's going back and saying, well, he didn't tell Gio to lie. He expected Gio to go along with the narrative, basically.
So, yeah, this is classic journalism 101. Eric obviously never took a journalism class back in the day because it would have been the same journalism class I took. And basically what you don't do is infer. And you don't intimate things and use language that is explosive when basically you're just trying to get attention. The story becomes you because you're using language that isn't correct. So Eric is now at least admitting this and saying it was not an intimate conversation. I was not consoling him. And I wasn't saying that he was asked to lie. I take it back. He was expected to go along with which is still basically asking him to lie. Right? He's expected to go along with the prognosis, even though he didn't agree with it. And then he didn't. He said, "Fuck that prognosis."
Well, it makes me wonder because based off of when Gio was interviewed, and he said that he was 100%. I wonder if before the game started, Berhalter had sat him down and talked to him and said, "Hey, again, this is me playing devil's advocate, assuming that he is going on the whole injured narrative from the 3 days prior." Okay, sat him down and said, "Hey, I'm probably not going to play you at all today. Get you fresh for England because of the injury. I want to be safe with this." And then
fresh for England
for the 7 minutes he got. Gio comes out and says, "I was 100% fit." Coach doesn't have to give me reasons. That's what he said, basically.
Yeah.
Coach doesn't tell me why he's not playing me. I was 100% fit, ready to go.
All I'm telling you is Eric Wynalda got a call.
Yeah.
Whether it's from Greg and Gio, Claudio, or both, or one or the other, someone's told him, "Hey, dude."
He does talk. He does mention he talked to Greg too. So he probably talked to both.
Yeah, you're basically making a mountain out of a molehill, or you're turning what was just a
individual spat, 1 second thing.
You're turning what should have been like a 2-man bukkake into like 100 people splurting all over.
It's all over Twitter. I'm getting questions at a presser.
This should have been a very quiet scene, and it's not.
Well, Eric doesn't really give two shits about USSF at this point.
No,
they are not on good talking terms.
No, he would not have. He would not have taken a call from Michael Cameraman.
Hey, this is Michael from USSF. Fuck you.
He would not have taken that call. He would take a call from Greg, and he would take a call from Claudio.
Yeah, but, I mean, those three know each other in the sense. So
yes, they're teammates. They're all teammates.
So 100%. But yeah, so
would have been a better way to present that. I'm not suggesting that he, physically asked Gio, "Hey, I need you to lie for me." That's not what happened, and that's not what I was trying to portray. So if there is a retraction out of that, because it is misleading, and I really hate the fact that that question needed to be asked to our national team coach.
It is funny though that it did. Wow. Because at least the one thing I liked about the fact that the coach got asked about it is that somebody, Sam is actually out there asking an uncomfortable question at a time, and that's something that we've all been preaching for our media to do. Ask the hard-hitting questions. Ask those uncomfortable questions. Get some answers.
So the thing about Eric that you need to know about Eric, and this has always been the case for Eric, I'm going to use a nice word here. He's a spontaneous person. And this is what happened. He got some info, some very not in-depth info, and he ran with it because he is there's another word for this, chaotic person. And he just goes for it, right? And then when you're a go for it kind of guy, if you're not an introspective person who says, "Okay, I got this information, what should I really do with it in a respectful and not respectful, but in a genuine way. I want to do it in a genuine way." But he ended up making it about him, which is why he's having to do this. Okay? This is why he's having to do this. He jumped the gun. And I can't even tell you guys how many times on this show we get inside info and we have to really, wait. We have to wait. I didn't jump on the John Brooks thing until I really knew. I had to wait. I had to wait and get multiple fucking confirmations before I said, he's gone and he ain't coming back forever. Goodbye, John Brooks. When I said that, people were like, "Nah, come on, man. There's still plenty of time." No, there wasn't. He was gone and it was over. It was over. But I had to get multiple, but I didn't just jump on it. I mean, Eric just went straight for the clitoris on this deal. You can't just go jumping straight for the clitoris. There's got to be some foreplay and some thought.
So I wanted to bring up a series of comments here from our good friend Nate. So to my point of asking the hard-hitting questions, Nate says, "Yep, ask it on the eve of a must-win, life-altering match." I guess my take on that would be is that it was given. It was an uncomfortable, hard-hitting question, but it gives Berhalter the room to put it to rest. Could have put it to rest. Simply say, here's what happened, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Could have just been all out in the open at that point.
No, okay. Rescue control happened. Here's what really happened. And I don't know this for a fact.
It's not really what happened, huh?
This is something I heard, and here's how it happened. Greg called Claudio and said, what's up? I hear this report. Claudio said, don't worry about it. I'll call Eric. Then Claudio says, you call. Why don't you call him too? But I'm going to call him first. They both called him. He talked to both of them. Anyhow, I don't want to get into the details, but that's what happened. That's basically what happened. And that's why we're getting this almost a confession from Eric at this point. And Eric did jump straight to the clit. He didn't need to do it. He should have massaged this for a while and thought about it. But we were in the middle of the World Cup. He was really upset that this kid wasn't playing. Eric was. And he just jumped. He went straight for it. Sometimes in journalism, and Eric's not a journalist. Let's be really clear. I was for a long time. Before you do that, you really need to get clearance. You need to be very clear about what you're going to say because there were repercussions for what you say. As I was pretty much told many years ago by Sasha Kletchen's dad, there are repercussions for what comes out. So here we go. Eric's spilling the beans here. What?
I was going to say, I said, the water. I said water was wet, and you said no. Volcanoes shoot out lava is what you just did there.
What?
I was talking about a specific series of questions as far as asking Berhalter a serious question at a presser, and that it opened the opportunity for him to get all of it out in the open. And then you went on to talking about what happened with Wynalda.
No. What I'm saying is, no. Hear me out. What I was saying was behind the scenes. While Greg was saying that, all of this shit was happening behind the scenes to clear this up stateside with Eric. So it allowed Greg to say, hey, you believe whatever you want. But he already knew that this statement was coming out. He kind of knew it was coming out. Yes.
Fair enough on that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were missing that the bow on top of your package, if you will.
The link. Right.
I was sitting there listening to him like, no, I 100% agree with you, Derek, on all of this. But what is it?
Well, I wouldn't argue with
just
you.
talking about.
I wasn't arguing with you, but we just missed the beginning of the shaft to the head. It wasn't connecting. You know what I mean? You're like, no, I don't know what I mean.
But Derek, how many people from our bullshit media even offer an apology? There is a difference. I believe Wynalda.
No, I believe that he honestly feels this way now because he jumped the gun. And that's okay. I don't mind that he jumped the gun. Sometimes there's a little spontaneity that's necessary in even journalism. But this was kind of a pre-cum thing. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That it was somewhere in the middle between all the culprits here. You know, I think that there was some middle ground, and not middle ground, but it was somewhere in the middle of all of it. And I'm not saying anybody lied about anything in particular, although we talked about how Berhalter has lied in the past, or lied by omission, or passively aggressively, waxed on and then waxed off.
I'm going to imagine the calls that Eric got from Claudio and Greg were pretty upset calls.
Probably.
They're formerly teammates. They're also close friends. At least I don't know how close they are, but I mean, if you did that to me, Brett, and I was coach of the national team, I'd be like, man, that motherfucker is like bending me over and shafting me in front of everybody while I'm over here trying to coach a fucking World Cup. Yeah. I would have called up Eric and been like, hey, dude, what are we doing here?
The fuck did Derek just run off to? His computer probably died. Well, Derek's coming back in. Let's go ahead and continue on this a little bit.
Prior to such a game of this magnitude, is I don't want it to be a distraction. The good news is they have talked it out. And this is a scenario which is unfortunate as it was that he did not get included in that Wales game, and that's what I was alluding to. That he's going to get some time on the field now. So, you know, it's unfortunate. I want to issue an apology to Greg in the sense that what that second part where I alluded to the idea that he asked, or I had knowledge of him actually asking Gio to lie for him, and that's not what I meant to say. So
you mean
that's it. I'd rather just get this in the rearview mirror like everybody else.
Wow.
Have you reached out to Greg? Have you attempted to reach out to Greg and kind of smooth it over between the two?
Yes, and the other part of that, I don't think that's something that they need to be focused on right now. So I think that the other apology that I had was for Claudio, because this has put Gio in a very odd spot. And that was clearly not my intention. This is a frustration of not seeing some players that we want on the field.
Yep. So
well, allegedly, assumingly,
I called it spontaneity, and then Eric can be spontaneous. But that's always been one of Eric's Achilles, right? He speaks too soon. Usually not. Usually he says something that most of us need to hear. And he does it in a hard-hitting way. But sometimes when it comes to your friends and it comes to people you know, you really want to gather all that information before you come out and say something as controversial as he did. It's not even controversial. That's not the part that bothers me. It's that it was too soon. You need to collect more information. It's too soon to say why Reyna's not playing. And frankly, I don't think a lot of people are like cheering from the rafters for Reyna over Weah. Honestly, no. I don't think that that's happening. And if you really think that Reyna should be playing midfield, we've never seen that before. So is he supposed to play midfield? He's supposed to come in for McKennie? I mean, we haven't seen it ever before. So I don't know how that works. But if you're looking at the starting lineup, if Weah is starting at right winger over Aronson, over Reyna, right now, I don't have any problem with it. I realize, and it's a fucking, as Wallace says 1,000 times, it's a champagne problem to have. Yes, it is. It is a champagne problem to have.
But only if you shuffle those players in. Then, if you don't shuffle those players in, then it's not a champagne problem. It's a. I don't know.
Yeah, you could play a 4-2-3-1. Who put this up? Alex.
Boy does the
Alex.
Hot Time Old Town.
Thank you. This is the very lineup I have put up and talked about for eons. This is the exact lineup in a 4-2-3-1 that I've been calling for forever, but I will take a Brett's 4-4-2-2. I'll take that as well. I'm all for Brett's 4-4-2. I'm all for my 4-2-3-1. I'll take anything, whatever works to get the best players on the field.
So, yeah, on this formation, with these players, all you would have to do on the 4-2-2-2 would be shuffle way up, and then Pulisic and Reyna just shuffle them to the right a little bit. And you'd have your 4-2-2-2.
And guess
open
what?
up the room for Dest and Robinson to run up the pitch, which is what they're good at.
And guess what? If Weah's looking tired or Reyna's looking tired in the 60th minute, who do you have to bring on? Aronson. He can play or McKennie can play out wide. There's all kinds of options. But the whole thing is here, do you want to bench McKennie? But that's like saying, do you want to bench Aronson? And as Hercules has said, it's fucking painful to see us play without Aronson on the field. Painful to watch this team play without Reyna, but I cannot make a legitimate excuse or reason to replace Weah at this point because we play a 4-3-3 or in the last game where we played partially a 4-4-2. Then maybe you could squeeze them in, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think we're going to see.
I think a lot of the issues here is coming down to player management. It's been my one of my only complaints about Berhalter this World Cup is we need to see players, and Pulisic and Weah are doing great. Not taking anything away from them. MMA was much better in England. They did solid in the first half against Wales, but player management is a must. You need to bring those subs in earlier so they not only continue to keep the opposition on their heels, but you're giving the subs a chance to really make a change in the game. So occasionally, maybe Pulisic comes off at the 65th minute, or maybe a Weah comes off, or a McKinney, or even a Musa. Any of these players could come off, and you can substitute these players who are starlets in their own right to sub in for them and give them a chance.
Yep. All right. Let's make a prediction for the Iran game. I'm going to say 2-1 USA.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
What do you go?
We're such high producing chances.
1-0.
I'm thinking 1-0. The Greg Berhalter special, the grind out the 90 minutes, 1-0. Actually, in this case, it'd be like 110 minutes, but as you get 10 minutes each extra time. I'm saying 1-0, barring obviously if we've got to go for the win regardless. So it depends on what Iran does in the end.
I'm really concerned because I know Iran are thinking, oh yeah, they got to go for it. We don't. So let's bait them in and then hit them on the counter real hard, real fast. Let's have that all planned out. So as soon as we get the ball, we hit them on the counter hard and fast. And by the way, let's hit them behind Jedi or behind Dest because they're going to be pushed so far up. Let's hit them there and have our two strikers in those fucking.
There hasn't been a behind Dest this World Cup. Dest really hasn't gotten into the attack all that often.
No, I get it.
He's had like 2 runs the entire World Cup.
Which is smart because if you're pushing Robinson that far up, if you're pushing Jedi that far up, be safe. And they have been. They're like, okay, Reem, if Jedi bursts all the way far left, then Dest, Zimmerman, and Reem stay pretty much locked in. So.
True, David. Iran is not guaranteed to move on with the tie. It does guarantee them a chance of moving on.
He's right.
That's assuming that Wales, doesn't beat England.
Wales has no fucking chance against England. In fact, England are going to pummel Wales because really they look so cautious against us. They're getting so much criticism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the criticism at home alone is probably going to spur them forward.
They're getting basted at home. So they're going to have to kick at Wales' ass, personally. I just think that's what's going to happen. And Wales, frankly, they're a limp dick team. An old limp dick team. A lot of they're just not a good team. All right, Brett, I got to check out, dude. I got to go.
It's only been an hour and 50 minutes.
Only. All right, guys. Thank you for coming to the show. We'll be back tomorrow night after the game at 8:15. We'll have more things to talk about. Let's just hope that what we're going to be talking about is positives and that we're on to the next round. That's what I want to see tomorrow. I'm really nervous, but in a good way. I'm kind of positive after last game. But I'm just worried about our ability to break down a low block and score goals. I'm sure you are too, and that's okay. So let's just cross our fingers. I know that's not the best solution, but there's not much else any of us can do because this is really in the team's hand, and it's really in Greg's hands at this point. And those are
at this point, all Greg can do at this point is just become a motivational speaker, and hopefully they fly in Ted Lasso to do that for him.
Oh, God, yes. Because Greg's motivational speaking isn't motivational. All right. Again, thank you for all of you that showed up tonight. We will be back tomorrow night. And, hey, make sure you use the KY. All right. We didn't do a sponsor. We didn't do the sponsor thing tonight. So KY Jelly, you can go with either the classic.
Left or right hand? Oh, sorry.
That too. I prefer the left, but you can use the classic or the warm. And there are lots of other varieties. Until the next time on Straight Red Card, we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, Coach.